All right, Rod, how you doing today, brother? You're on mute. You're on mute. You need to unmute yourself. You're on mute. Unmute yourself. Press the mute button. Press the mute button. The speaker. Press that. You see a little speaker which has a red, connect audio.
And now?
There we go. All righty. How you doing today, brother?
Good. What's up, my man? How are you?
I'm great. All right, welcome to A1 Podcast. This is the first ever outdoor edition episode where I'm at Segura National Park in Phoenix, Arizona, Tucson, and I'm joined by WWE Superstar, former WWE Superstar and current SWE television champion, the man, the myth, the legend, Rodney Mack. Rodney, how you doing today?
Good, man. Good. Great to be here. And, man, just happy to be on the podcast, brother. How you
100%.
doing?
I'm doing great, man. Rodney, I used to watch you growing up as a kid. A lot of my fans, the listeners, they love watching your work, in WWE. Obviously, to see you continue doing that up until now, SWE, it's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Well, thank you, man. I'm just blessed, man, to still be here, Yeah, here alive, number one, and blessed to still be doing what I love to do, man. Yeah.
And we're going to get into that kind of, your trials, tribulations. So, but I want to start from the beginning. Kind of talking about your early life. Kind of, were you always into wrestling, or did wrestling come on? Because I know you started around in your late 20s, around 1998, to start training with Junkyard Dog. But talking about your early life, kind of, what were your passions growing up as a kid, and kind of what got you into wrestling?
Man, that's funny you asked. Yeah, it was always a lifelong dream of mine to be a professional wrestler. It's just like something I always knew I was going to be. I was destined to be.
Right.
But I got into it, man, by my father mainly. My dad was my biggest influence. He loved pro wrestling, and as far as I could ever remember back, I mean, I tell this story a lot. I was 4 years old, and my mother was in labor for my brother, and we dropped her off at the hospital to have the baby, and we went to watch Andre the Giant wrestle a handicap match at Domain Center in Lafayette, Louisiana. So that's how.
Wow.
Yeah, it's yeah. It's been a dream come true for me.
So, I mean, it's interesting because obviously your dad was a huge influence on you to kind of get into it. Obviously, you grew up as a kid watching Andre the Giant, watching wrestlers. Kind of what did you play any other sports, like, growing up before you decided to go into pro wrestling, or were you like a wrestler in high school? Kind of talk to me about that.
Yes, I did. I started wrestling and playing football actually in about the 6th grade. And I just, it's funny, I tell that story today, but I have not had an off season since. I started in the 6th grade, and I've been wrestling, amateur wrestling, football, track and field, but yes, my entire life.
That's awesome, because I'm also a football player, if you can't tell. So, I mean, I played in the Arena League, so I kind of made, a name for myself. So,
yeah, that's
for me, yeah, I appreciate you saying that, brother, because, for me to be able to share that with you, because you're one of the guys I used to watch growing up as a kid. I mean, it's obvious. It's great. It's great. So kind of talk to me about kind of when you broke into ECW. You started training Junkyard Dog in 1998, then you broke into ECW. What was that experience like for you?
Man, again, when from the time when I broke in with JYD and trained with Rod Price and got the ECW, that all happened really fast in my career. I want to say within 6 to 8 months, all that kind of happened. And being in ECW in that environment was just like, it was total culture shock from just everything I've, from my just from my upbringing, from being in Louisiana to going up to Philly, and being in that part of the country, just the way the guys did things. Everybody knows it was a run and gun. It was different in ECW.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, with that, obviously, kind of the difference in styles. I think also with kind of WWE, how was it for you when you broke into WWE? You know, because you went from OVW, ECW, OVW. Kind of, what was that transition like for you?
From once it was again, it was totally opposite. As far as for ECW, there was no rules. You know, there was it just everything was extreme, and OVW was more of an
Right.
traditional professional wrestling. You know, learning to sell and work and taking one less is more. And in ECW, you know, it was like more is better. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
when you went to OVW, you were tag team champ, and you were tag team champions with Shelton Benjamin. So kind of what was it like working with Shelton, and kind of being OVW?
Oh man, it was awesome working with Shelton. Shelton is probably God is probably, and I've seen a lot of great athletes, you know, in my days. He's probably the greatest athlete I've ever seen and been around in my entire life. He's a great
Wow.
person.
Wow.
Yeah, that says a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, Shelton he's all that, man. Yeah, but it was a
All
great
that in a bag of
experience with
chips,
him.
right?
You know? Yeah, he is, and that's all he
Yeah.
ate was actually chips and Mountain Dew. With a body like a Greek god. That's crazy, man. Yes, yes.
Man, that's awesome. So I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
obviously, like, so Sean Benjamin was obviously a great athlete because he had the amateur background at University of Minnesota, was translated well into his OVW and then eventually his WWE career. With the working with Sean, did it help improve you as an athlete in any way, shape, or form, or was it just kind of you guys just worked together and you guys still had
Oh
your distinct
no,
styles?
no, most definitely you have to up your game, and no matter what you do, whenever you know surrounded by guys like that.
Right.
He's a A1 top shelf, you know, like you said, all that in the bag of chips. Just training with those guys, being around those guys. If you have anything about yourself, you know what I mean. You have to pick up the pace, you know. So yes, to answer that, it was a tremendous
100%.
help to me, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think, and I totally agree with you because when you think about it, it's like when you're around better talent, even in football, like you know how I know when you're with like guys playing the NFL, guys you're like went to the highest level. Like my coach is now basically going to be the passing coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens, Coach Keith Williams. It helps you become better, and you have to up your game to kind of satisfy those expectations. So I think also with wrestling, it's not any different. Working with Sean Benjamin, an athlete of his caliber, you also being a phenomenal athlete too. But you like I said, having to up your game, it makes you just all around better.
That's right. That's right. Yes, sir.
So when you debuted in WWE, how was that like for you? Kind of going from OVW to the big stage when you first got into WWE. What was that like for you?
Again, that transition right there was totally like night and day. The style
Yeah.
we were taught and that we're accustomed to working in OVW was traditional old school, grab a hole, work a body part type of deal. And when we went to when I was in WWE, especially with my gimmick doing the 5-minute challenge, it was everything was run and gun, and they don't want you to stop and work a hole. They prefer movement, constant movement. And then being able to tell a story through constant movement, it's a little bit different, It's a lot harder. Yeah.
Right. And I think it's harder because also, like you said, it's in real time. Like you said, it's the run and gun. It's a lot of improv. Like you can't script everything, and sometimes you can't even rehearse it. You have to just kind of go on the fly and just adjust.
Yes, and thank God. That's ironic you said. That is every to each their own. We all have different styles and whatnot, but that is how I always was able to perform my best. Is just to get in there and just do it. I'm not one that could sit in the back and call those spots and rehearse stuff and whatnot. Well, I can do that now. So many reps and with that much experience, I can go in blindfolded and call it in the ring. But that's always been my preference. To me, there's more of an art, and it takes more. It's more to it. To me, that's the definition of being a real professional. Don't get me wrong, and I don't mean no disrespect, but I think that any two people to sit down in the locker room or whatnot and choreograph something and come out there and do it. It don't really mean you're professionals. It takes some professionals to be able to go out there and create something, live right there. I think that's
So
just two different levels of individuals.
I totally agree. I totally agree because that separates the goods from the greats. You know what I mean? I think also, I mean, like with that, like you said, if you're a true professional, you'll be able to adjust on the fly. You'll be able to kind of learn the psychology of the business. You'll be able to respond to the crowd better, and you'll be able to work, whatever with whatever's given to you. And
That's
obviously, with
right.
the 5 minute challenge, with kind of your thing, basically, you were seen it for a little bit on your like one episode on SmackDown. Then they moved you to Raw, and then you're packaged as kind of like with Tay Long as like as like the 5 minute challenge, was actually formerly known as the White Boy Challenge, and I love that shit
Right.
because it's like what I mean. It's like as a minority myself, I just thought it was so kind of satisfying to kind of see some representation out there, and kind of your character kind of representing something. Even though you're a heel, you kind of represented something which is relevant today. I mean, like kind of like being oppressed and racial overtones stuff like that. That's very relevant today.
That's right. I totally agree with you 100%. Right. And even though I was a heel on TV, I was really, I was really a baby face.
Yeah,
Because so
yeah.
many people were kind of like, yeah, could can see where I was coming from, so to speak.
And obviously, with the 5 minute challenge, the White Boy Challenge, working with Teddy Long, kind of describe that relationship because you even got to work with guys like The Rock during that stretch, right? In the backstage.
Right.
So, talk to me about that.
Well, yeah, that was a great experience in itself because I learned so much just from Teddy Long alone, just on teaching me how to be a professional wrestler and learning what a manager was. He did everything for me, uh, but laced my boots and had the match. He guided me and walked me through everything needed to be and made sure that all we had to do was come there and perform. So yeah, I got none but love for Teddy, the utmost respect, and he taught me a lot about the game, and still does today. We're still tight, and we still, I still talk to him a couple of days out the week and get right, and still get advice. You see that? I
100%. And
put
kind
you
of
on
with,
it.
yeah, yeah. I love Teddy because Teddy is like one of those characters who actually, like you said, your character was a heel, but in reality, you're a face, in my opinion. Same thing with like Muhammad Hassan, because like, I'm Pakistani. Muhammad Hassan was another example of like, you're Muslim, you live in America, you feel oppressed. It's the same exact concept. It's like, wait, what's going on here? Like, who's really the heel? Is it the fans booing this guy? Or is it the guy representing something bigger? And Teddy Long was also a victim of racism. You can hear his interviews and he talks about it backstage with some of these other wrestlers. And it's amazing to see kind of, how he was able to have so much success, at the highest level, in the WWE and obviously continue on even today. So
Right. Yeah, it's I can't explain or express how much I learned just being around him. He's a mountain of energy and intelligence.
yeah, it really is, really is. And so obviously, you're the White Boy. The 5 minute challenge kind of went, and you won almost. I think you went 6 months undefeated, and then you had to face Goldberg, and that's when the challenge ended. Talk to me about kind of what went into that match.
Man, really, it was as far as for we knew that was kind of a spontaneous thing at the end. Like they kind of got lost on what to do with what was going on with the 5 minute challenge. And I think honestly, Goldberg was kind of in limbo at the time, and he needed a boost.
Yeah,
And I think personally, that's what they used me for, because I was doing pretty well at the time, and had a pretty good buzz. And I think they used me to shoot Goldberg back up, which is all fine.
yeah. No, he really was in limbo. I read on Chris Jericho's account. He said that Goldberg Still there? Rodney, still there? Rodney? Rodney?
Whoa, I'm trying to get back.
All right, cool, no worries.
Yo, you back?
No idea what happened. Yeah, okay, there we go. All right, yeah. Yeah, so obviously you work with both, you were able to kind of be a tune-up match, and they pair you with Kristen Winsky. So how was it like for you working with Kristen Winsky after that, being a tag team?
Yeah, well, that was kind of a crazy situation. Me being anti-white, and then they teamed me up with the whitest guy in America. Oh no, no, it was great, man. Chris is an awesome individual. He's an awesome human being, a great guy. I had a blast working with him, man. It's a shame it had to end so soon for us.
Yeah. And then after that, they ended it so soon. Chris Nowitzki goes into he basically becomes a concussion advocate because he suffered a concussion and he stopped wrestling at that point. What was your reaction to that? And pretty much kind of what did it have impact on you thinking about all the injuries you sustained throughout your career, or was it just something that was just kind of like an outlier?
Well, yeah, it did. Like I said, we were pretty tight, and it hurt me to see that. And then actually, I remember the day, kind of sort of when it all occurred. I saw him leaning over in the hallway, and we make jokes about how white he is, but he was exceptionally pale at the moment. I saw him leaning over, and I asked him what was wrong, and he just kept telling me he was lightheaded and nauseated. And I mean, he really looked bad. So I told him he needed to see someone about it. Of course, he didn't want to, but I finally made him see the manager, and that's when they took him out and diagnosed he had a concussion or whatnot. And I think that's right before he had to wear the mask on his face.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, it's tough, obviously with, in football or wrestling, concussions are a real serious thing, because in any sport that involves contact, you have to obviously deal with that, as a byproduct of the sport. I mean, I suffer from my concussion occasionally, so it is what it is. But, just one of those things you have to think about. So.
That's right, man.
Yeah. So now, obviously, at this point, now they end of that, they send you back to developmental, but then they re-sign you to kind of to come back and compete on the World Heavyweight Championship tournament, the 20-man battle for number one contender. So talk to me how that was like for you, in the World Heavyweight Battle Royale in 2004 match.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. You kind of went out on me.
I was saying after they ended the Chris Nowitzki kind of tag team, they brought you back for one last match next year for the World Heavyweight Championship, the 20-man Battle Royale. So talking about that experience was like for you.
Yes, well, that was pretty cool being able to get in the ring with all those guys at the same time, and I kind of took that opportunity to go and kind of get into it a little bit with each and every one of the top guys that I could actually possibly get my hands on. You know,
Right.
that was a great opportunity right there to get a rub and a mingle and a little, get a chance to dance with the big boys a little.
Yeah.
So that was it was a great feeling, a good experience.
Yeah, and then around that time, then you got to be there. Then they let you go, but you also, I think it was around that time you met your wife, Jazz.
Well, no, Jazz and I, we actually met in training when I
Oh, really?
first, yes, with Junkyard Dog, yeah. So Jazz and I, we actually started the business together, since day one.
Got it. Wow. Okay, so you guys started the business together. So were you guys always dating before you got married?
Say again?
Rodney,
Yes,
hear me?
sir. Yeah, I can hear you. There we go.
All right. Excellent. All right, cool. Yeah, we're good.
Up.
All right. So yeah, Jazz, basically you guys met prior. Yeah, you guys met prior to obviously, and so were you guys dating the whole time, or what? Did you guys get married after you got released?
Oh, yes, no, Jazz and I, we actually met at let me see, middle of 97, toward the end of 1997. And we got married in 2000. Yeah, right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys were married before. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yes, sir. We
Yeah,
met in training with JYD, and then we got married, and then basically, yeah, since day one.
Day one, man. That's awesome. And now obviously Jazz, and kind of your point about Teddy Long, Jazz is also still involved heavily with the wrestling scene. So I mean, it's kind of good to see that. Yeah.
Yes, very much. Yeah.
Very much, man. Yeah. Awesome. So obviously after WWE, you came back, you had another stint, but then after that you went to the indie circuit, and then that's when you started having success again, after the WWE run. So talk to me about kind of what it was like for you to rejoin indie and kind of go the indie route.
Man, that was kind of wow, that was a culture shock. After being on the road, being in the WWE and on that level with the best talent in the world, and you get back and then going back to the Indies, it was brutal. It was hard to digest. Yeah. Are you still with me? You still here? Guys, what's up, my man? You all right?
Okay. All right. Now okay, cool. So pretty
Yeah.
much just kind of wrap up. We kind of talk. Yeah, there we go. There we go. But let's go. Let's wrap it up. Let's talk about kind of your current, indie career and your career post WWE, and kind of how it's been for you. Like, do you prefer kind of being in SWE as opposed to being WWE because you have success as a television champion, or do you prefer being at the big stage?
Well, to be honest with you, man, well, first and foremost, I love SWE. I love the company. I love everything about it. I love the direction we're going. And of course, yes, I'm very excited about my position and being the SWE TV champion. But man, as far as for being on a different level or whatnot, I never ever looked at it that way. WWE, of course, is the mecca of pro wrestling, but I love professional wrestling, and my whole thing was just for me to be the best that I could be. And it doesn't matter if I wrestle for AEW, WWE, BC. It doesn't matter as long as I'm in there doing what I feel I was born and bred to do. Man, I'm happy. I'm blessed. But this whole journey, yeah, going back to the independents, I love working the independents. and it's because I guess of the freedom. You know, you have the freedom to do what you want, be creative, and kind of be your own man. You know, so yeah, I'm having a blast, and once again, it doesn't matter what company that I ever wrestled for, as long as they will let me do what I love to do. And SWE so far, by a long shot, you know, has done that for me. And I plan on not going anywhere and just staying there and be the best, you know, TV champion that I possibly can be.
All righty. Yep, we got everything. I think we're good now. So yeah, I appreciate you kind of sharing that and how kind of you love just wrestling. It doesn't matter what promotion it is. And you love just being able to give back and you love being able to do what you do because we love watching you. I love watching you. All your fans across the world love watching you. You know what I mean? And it's just been, you've had such a great career. And I've just been, it's been a fortune to watch you and, kind of what's next? Kind of what do you see, for future to kind of close out the interview?
Man, I just see me, man, being the best SWE TV champion that we'll ever have. And my longevity, I ain't going nowhere, man. I'm getting younger day by day. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for following me, man. And I hope I keep representing for you guys, because long as the bells ring, it keeps ringing, man, I'm gonna keep doing my thing. God bless. Much love to all you guys, and keep watching, man. Come on, man.